When factoring a trinomial that's in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, and the leading coefficient a is equal to 1, you want to follow these steps. First, as always, factor out the GCF from all terms so it makes everything a little bit simpler to work with. Next, make sure to write the trinomial in descending order in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. And then now here's how you factor. Step 3. Taking your c term, find the factors of c that when you add them together, you will get b. And you need to be mindful for the sign of c, whether it's positive or negative. Once you have your factors, you're going to set up your two parentheses, put your variable in the front of each parentheses or the back depending on the kind of trinomial you have, then put in your factors with the correct signs. So first one we have x squared plus 10x plus 16. So we're going to take our factor c because a is 1. So c equals 16 right here. And b equals 10, which is right here. Make sure it's just the number and not the letter. So now we know what c and b are. So now we're going to ask ourselves, what times what equals 16? But if we add the same two factors together, we're going to get our b term of 10. So let's just label off some factors. 16 is 16 times 1, 8 times 2, 4 times 4, and that's all I can think of for now. Let's see how this works out. So 16 times 1 is 16. 16 plus 1 is not 10. There's no way to get to 10, so we can just cancel that out. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 plus 2 is 10. So since it works, we know the other one will not work. So our factors are positive 8 and positive 2. So once you find factors that work, you're done with that. You don't have to go any further. So now I'm going to set up my two parentheses for my factor. And I see that my variable here is x. So x's are going to go in the front of each parentheses. And then I look at my factors, positive 8, positive 2. So I put in here positive 8 and positive 2. And that's how you factor this trinomial. Next I have w squared minus 15w plus 50. So again, I'm looking at my c term, and c here is 50, and b is negative 15. So again, I ask myself, what times what would give me 50, but adds together to give me negative 15. So factors of 50, 50 and 1, 25 and 2, 10 and 5. I think that's all I could think of for the moment. So let's start off with it. 50 times 1 is 50. 50 plus 1 is not 15. There's no way to get to 15, so it's gone. 25 times 2 is 50, but 25 plus 2 will never get me close to 15 again, so I can cancel that out. 10 times 5 is 50. 10 plus 5 is 15, but I need a negative 15. So I can look at these two and think, what if both of them were negative? I think so. Now, negative 10 times negative 5 is positive 50, and negative 10 plus negative 5 is negative 15. So my factors are negative 10 and negative 5. So there we go. Set up my two parentheses. My variable is w, so put that in the front of each. And then I have a minus 10 and a minus 5, so minus 10, minus 5. And there is my trinomial factored. Next for this one, I have negative 2c squared minus 22cd minus 60d squared. So I got a lot of things going on here. Biggest one is I have a GCF of 2. And everything's negative, so I want to make my life a little bit easier. I'm going to factor out a negative 2 out of everything. So negative 2, and negative 2, just divide it out. And I'm going to end up with negative 2 times c squared plus 11cd plus 30d squared. And these positive, nice numbers smaller than this, much easier to work with. So now again, I'm going to pick out my c and b. My c term, my c coefficient I should say, is 30. I don't want the variable. And my b coefficient is 11. So I ask myself, what times what equals 30? But if I add the same two numbers, I get 11. So let's go some factors. 30 and 1, 15 and 2, 10 and 3, 6 and 5. Well, 30 and 1 will never get me 11, so I can just get rid of that right away. 15 times 2 is 30, but 15 plus 2 won't get me to 11. It'll get me close, but not quite. So get rid of it. 10 times 3 is 30. 10 plus 3, still not quite 11. Close, but not close enough. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 plus 5 is 11. So we have our factors. And so I'm going to keep my negative 2 on the outside and set up my two parentheses. Now I have a c squared, it's in the front, so c's, just like before, go in the front. But this time I have a d squared in the back. So it means in the back of each parentheses is going to be d. And then I take my factors. Positive 6, positive 5, positive 6, positive 5, and there is my factored form. Last, x squared minus 13x plus 8, no GCF. So again, I just find my c term, which is 8, and my b term, which is negative 13. So what times what gives me 8, but adds together to give me negative 13. So factors of 8, 8 and 1, 4 and 2. Can't think of anything else, so let's see. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 plus 1 is not 13, not even close. So get rid of it. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 plus 2 is, again, not 13. So get rid of it. And I double check to make sure, but I can't think of any other factors that will give me 8. So, since I have no factors that can give me 8, I can say that this trinomial is not factorable. Another thing you could also say is that this trinomial is prime. And that will happen sometimes if you can't find any factors, and make sure that you can't have any, because sometimes you might forget one, but if you have no factors that will satisfy the conditions, then you can say that the trinomial is not factorable and is prime.